Metanoia, a fundamental change of thinking, transformative change of heart. In the winter of 1991, Jeff Lowe chose an unusual vacation from the chaos in his life. He pieced together an impossible climb on the north face of the Eiger in Switzerland. 9 harrowing days later, Jeff's life was forever changed.
When you are a climber, it's very important to be creative.
He's the guy that really introduced modern mixed climbing to the entire planet.
It's a big dream to repeat his climb.
20 years ago, a great alpinist made his most compelling and perhaps most perplexing climb. I'm John Krakauer, and I was there to cover the ascent for Men's Journal. In late winter 2010, Lowe returned to the north face of the Eiger. It was a journey both inward and outward, connecting his iconic past to the ironic challenges of his life today.
I started climbing when I was probably 6 years old, and it was my father, Ralph, who got me into climbing. He introduced me to an attitude about the mountains, enabling me to see that even when things apparently are very harsh, they can actually be enjoyable. You've got to have something at stake for it to be interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at a crossing point. Crossing point. Crossing point. Crossing point.
In 1990, in his most troubled hour, he chose to seek delight on Europe's most notorious mountain wall. Since 1936, many have perished, bold young men like Tony Kurtz, Andro Hinterstoicer, John Harlan. Jeff recalls climbing with ghosts. He also recalls his own big fall near the top, landing with a painful jolt right back in his body.
This is something mystic, because everybody knew that Jeff Lowe climbed this route. He spent 9 days there. It must be really hard.
It's very inspiring because with this type of spirit, you just can imagine everything.
It's people like Jeff Lowe still loves it. That to me means a lot. He can come closer to knowing that limit of what can and can't be done than almost anybody.
I got to grow up with him, and there was a lot of close calls. I'm pretty lucky that he lived through all of his terrifying climbing experiences.
For me, it wasn't a conscious choice to choose climbing. It chose me.
Jeff Lowe is part of the big history in alpine climbing.
Strong climbers have attempted Jeff's Metanoia route on the Eiger. Not one has succeeded.
You know, if it's your last moment on Earth, you ought to get the most out of it.
Coming fall 2011.
Hi there, I'm Connie Self. For over a year now, we've been making a documentary film about the life and climbs of Jeff Lowe. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to Jeff through some of his friends and colleagues.
Well, Jeff went well beyond where I ever got as a climber, as far as I'm concerned. He had this vision for the future that very few people have in terms of where was the sport going, or where did the sport need to go. He had his own vision of where it needed to go, and Jeff was a guy who would carry off the vision.
He has been one of the iconic figures for a long time in American climbing, and he gets this very debilitating illness. He's not feeling sorry for himself. He said, you know, I have a great life. I had a great life. I still have a great life, and I'm moving forward.
But Jeff as a climber was clearly, I think, the most talented technical climber of his generation. So it was always, to me, it was always a privilege to climb with Jeff. Well, I think one of the things that's really special about Jeff is his spirit and his enthusiasm and his lust for life and experiencing it as big as it can be for him at whatever time and whatever he's faced with. And I think that's one of his most endearing qualities.
I was able to do all I have done in the mountains because of Jeff, because he taught me a lot and he gave me my confidence. He didn't have to train much, but his mind was, he was thinking a lot about his climb and one day go. Because when on the Eiger, he didn't climb since 2 months. And he went on Eiger, like that, plop. I'm going to climb this face and that's all. So it's amazing. I thought, yeah, now I would like to be able to climb the Eiger on North Face too.
There's probably 2 or 3 who have fundamentally changed climbing, and Jeff kept on doing it over and over and over again. You know, first he went out and climbed Bridal Veil Falls, beautiful vertical chandeliered ice that was just in people's fantasies at the time, and Jeff went out and climbed it. And then a year later he came back and he soloed it. In 1986 or 1987, he brought a World Cup climbing competition to the side of a building in Snowbird, Utah. And that was so far ahead of its time. People didn't know what to do with it, but yet now the United States, anyway, is full of climbing competitions. The name of the route that Jeff did that really put mixed climbing on the map was Octopussy, a route that people had been walking under for decades. Jeff identified it as something that could be climbed, and then he figured out the techniques and the tools to go climb it. We used to jokingly call Jeff's projects Alps for another Lowe project, you know, and they were eye rollers. You know, here's Jeff in a powered wheelchair because his body is completely shut down. He can't talk very well anymore. Very, very difficult for him to do daily tasks of life. And he's starting another freaking Alp, right, with this movie. And that's so classic Jeff that how can you not love that? How can you not love that?
I'm Cordell Wolking, editor on Jeff Lowe's Metanoia. This film is a combination of archival footage, interviews, and modern footage. Jeff's passion for this film is probably as strong as any of his well-known first climbing ascents. Last winter in Switzerland, Jeff and his film crew gathered spectacular images of the Alps, including breathtaking footage of his Metanoia route on the north face of the Eiger.
Metanoia is the story of an extraordinary human being who, in his climbing career, accomplished extraordinary feats with a lifelong philosophy of total self-responsibility.
Jeff is an amazing person. He's been inspiring climbers for decades. Now he inspires everyone who meets him.
Dad had a motto which became the family motto, and that is still my motto today, which is What is which, see, one thing about this disease I have is it's got a long name, but I just call it the incredible shrinking brain syndrome. And it gives me a ready excuse for any time I screw up in any way from here on out. So thanks for laughing.
Our small team believes that this is a story that must be told, but we can't do it without your help. Please share this link with your friends, post it on Facebook, and visit us at our website, jefflowemovie.com. We really hope you'll join us on this great adventure.
I'm Jeff Lowe, and I approve this message. Thank you.